India needs more than $230 billion to meet its weapons and equipment requirements in the next 10 to 12 years, according to the Long-Term Integrated Perspective Plan for 2014 to 2029, an Indian Ministry of Defence source has revealed. However, there's division over whether India will be able to meet the funding need. The list of the weapons and equipment needed for India's armed forces translates to a cost of $233 billion. According to the Ministry of Defence source, the money will come from the country's procurement budget, capital head. To meet the funding target, India will need to increase defence spending at an annual rate of more than 10%. The funding allocation in the capital head for 2016 to 2017 is $37.94 billion, which works out to an increase of 2.3% in rupee terms against last year's funding allocation. However, in US dollar terms, it was a 10% drop compared to last year's allocation of $42.1 billion because of the depreciating Indian rupee against the dollar. Given the depreciating Indian rupee and near stagnant in fund allocation in the last 2 years, it is unlikely that there would be an annual increase of more than 11% to meet the target of $233 billion set by Long-Term Integrated Perspective Plan for the next 11 years, said Nitin Mehta, an India-based defense analyst. However, Ministry of Defense former financial advisor, is confident India will fulfill the planned requirements. The amount of $233 billion works out to approximately 15,000 million Indian rupees. The current year's allocation for capital acquisitions is around 7,000 million rupees. Taking this as the base and assuming a reasonable yearly growth of 10 to 11%. The total allocation over the next 11 years would anyway be close to 15,000 million rupees. So any acquisition plan that is based on this financial assumption would be quite realistic. Long-Term Integrated Perspective Plan lists the purchase of 500 helicopters, 12 submarines, nearly 100 single-engine fighter jets, more than 120 twin-engine fighter aircraft and an aircraft carrier, according to the Ministry of Defence source said. Mehta emphasized the importance of meeting these long-term integrated perspective plan requirements. There are several projects that have been awaiting finalization by the Ministry of Defence for the last 3 to 4 years, including the purchase of 36 Rafale fighters from France, the acquisition of 56 Airbus C-295 transport aircraft, the license production for Kamov 226 helicopters in India, the purchase of 145 ultralight howitzer artillery guns from the United States, the purchase of 155 mm tracked artillery guns, the purchase of 280 aero engines from Honeywell for the British-built Jaguar aircraft used by the Indian Air Force, and the purchase of 5 units of Russian-made S-400 Advanced Air Defense Systems FGFA fighter, Su-30 MKI upgrade program cleared by the Ministry's Defense Acquisition Council. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.